Every person has a journey, a reason for being who they are. Have you ever looked at someone and wondered, who really is this person? How did they get here? What's their story? Well, that's why this podcast was created, to listen to other people's life stories. Welcome to the My Story podcast. I'm your host, Ari.
All right, guys, so welcome back to the My Story podcast. Today we are switching places for the first time ever,
God.
and Ari is in the hot seat, our very own host.
This is
Today,
frightening.
we are going to find out all about Ari and her story.
Yeah, I'm excited and nervous at the same time. This is a special episode to conclude this season, and it's exciting and frightening at the same time.
Well, I think this is going to be great because everybody knows and loves Ari and wants to hear her story a little bit more. I obviously just met Ari at the beginning of the semester because she has come to study at SEMO from Puerto Rico, and it's kind of crazy how quickly we ended up being really good friends.
By accident, actually, because we're just assigned to the same group.
Yes, and very quickly we became great friends, and I've had so much fun getting to know her, and but there's a lot of little things that I don't know about you yet.
This is your chance to ask, I guess.
So, kind of starting out per usual, can you tell us more about your last name?
Okay, so in Puerto Rico, we have two last names. So my full name is Ariangelis Rivera-Ortiz, which is a lot. I don't have a second name because my parents said, my first name is long within itself, so I don't need a second name. So Rivera-Ortiz, Rivera is the last name of my father's side, and Ortiz is the last name on my mother's side. So in Puerto Rico, it's Puerto Rican culture, the kids have last name of their parents, both their parents together. So that's a little bit about how my last names work in a way. So yeah, that's my full name.
So can you tell me a little bit about your family and kind of growing up?
Sure. So my family, I don't really grew up with my mom's side of the family. I mostly grew up with my dad's side. So my dad's side is from Orocovis, which is literally the center of Puerto Rico. So that's how I grew up, where I grew up actually, until I was 9 years old. And I was homeschooled. So in that little small town place, rural, I guess you would say, I grew up, and I grew up very fond of my father's side of the family. And it was really beautiful because it's a lot of mountains and a lot of places you get to go. And being a homeschooled kid, you could just study for a couple of hours and then get to go different places. One of the things I mostly enjoyed was being with my dad in some, a little bit of context, because I'm not explaining this right. I'm a little nervous, guys. So a lot of people know right now that I have a background in science and all that stuff. But growing up, I went to a lot of events with my dad. He was a sound producer, and he did events. So growing up, I was maybe 6 years old, 7, maybe. And he would take me and my brother, I have an older brother, to his events. And we would help him with sound checks and cameras and all these type of things, and we would work on big events or small events. And I grew up in that industry in a way. He had his own company, his own monitors and stuff. So I grew up with that, and I think that stuck with me, even though I leaned out of it when I studied.
A different path.
Yeah, tried a different path in science, and I really do love science. But at the end, I went back to what I kind of loved, So that's a little bit of me growing up. In my mom's aspect, she's my foundation. She has made me who I am today. And she has helped me a lot, also with my own faith. And I was raised in Christianity, and even though a lot of people like that are raised in Christianity are like at some point, is this really what I believe in, or was this what I was taught? And I went through that at a certain point, but now it's like, no, I do believe it because of my own experiences. And she has helped me through that. She was the one who gave me homeschool. So she's the reason also that I know English. So she taught me, even though I was like 4 years old. She can tell this story better than me. But she
Moms
said,
can do everything better than we can.
yes, facts. But she says this, and I don't know why, but to this day, she still tells this story. She's like, when I was teaching you English, I just started speaking, and you did not question what I was saying. You just ran with it. And then she says, I just ran with the language. And fun fact, I have all my settings, everything in English, always, because I hate it in Spanish. I'm sorry, people. But
Controversial.
I do not like settings or much movies or anything in Spanish. I just love everything in English. And I fell in love with the language and everything regarding that. So I think I said a lot, but that's a little bit of my childhood, I think.
Okay, so kind of backtracking a little bit, you grew up in kind of like the sound area of things. What went through your mind, and what made you realize that kind of this was the area you wanted to go into?
So I didn't really click that I grew up in that until after I graduated from science. So giving a bit of deeper background, I went to science because I wanted to be a cardiovascular surgeon. So I went all in. And I really enjoyed it. My first year was amazing in learning biology and chemistry and all that stuff. Around my third year, well, I was a junior, right? I was getting tired of it, tired of the very hard classes, and I started having panic attacks. I didn't know what panic attacks were. I just started getting very anxious and crying all the time. I could not breathe, could not speak. And my mentor, she's now my mentor, she caught it fast, and she knew what's going on with me. She didn't tell me at the time, but she would just distract my mind and help me through it. And she would be like, Ari, just draw this and just do that. And slowly started, just design this, that this is fun for you. So while I was junior, no, I think it was a senior, I was part of the school board in my university. So I was vice president of my school board. And it was cool because I got to help a lot of students and travel and all that stuff. But she noticed that I was not really into science. And I would design the flyers and design this and do all the things mass media does, but I was still doing science. And she would tell me, Ari, you need to change majors. This is like, you're suffering in your major, but when you are designing and you're drawing to ease your brain, you're in a different place. You're so at peace with yourself, but you go to science and it's another you. And I did not listen to her at all. Because I did not want to say what if. I really tried to avoid the what ifs of life.
Which I completely understand. I get it.
So fast forwarding, I got to take the MCAT. That's the test for going into the medical field. But I was so tired of science that I literally prayed right before taking the test. I prayed and I said, God, if you want me in the medical field, somehow help me pass this test. But if I don't pass this, I am done with science and I'll never go back. And I did not pass. So
wow, that's like heavy stuff though.
Yeah.
And I commend you for the faith that you had in that prayer before. This mentor sounds like it's been a very, very helpful thing for
Yeah.
you. How did you come about this person?
So her name is Sibel Betancourt. She has become like a mom to me. It's very fun when my mom and her click and they both scold me by the same thing and the same way. It's crazy. And I'm like just sitting there like, it's fine.
Like, all right, I'll just take it.
I just take it. So when I became the vice president of the school board, she was the advisor for that. And that's how I met her. She was also at the time working for the school in the extracurricular activities. So I was also president of another organization back then, and I met her through that as well. I think I went her that way first, actually, now that I'm remembering this. But I got to know her a bit more when she was my advisor. And afterwards, we just clicked and never disconnected. And she takes a lot of students under her wings and just try to help them out with their careers and make them realize they have a better potential than what they actually see within themselves. And she has molded me in my professional career a lot. And I think I wouldn't be here without her help, because she's very important in my life. And yeah, that's, I think, how I went about her.
No, that's awesome, and it's special that she kind of saw it before you even did.
Yeah.
People that make you realize things like that are very special, I think. So how and when did the idea to come and study at SEMO come about? Is that something you always knew you wanted to do?
No. So when I decided I wanted to go back into college and just pursue media as a full-on career, I started a small business in photography and video, and then was like, I need to study this professionally. And I started, and 2-3 years later, this program started at SEMO, where they wanted different Puerto Rican students in different institutions to just study abroad for a semester. And as that started, this is a fun fact. I don't know. I'm going to say it because I've never said it. The first time the recruiters of the station, and I think Dr. Buck went to Puerto Rico, it was to inaugurate a new TV setup we have. And I was not there. I did not know that was happening. So I was like, who are these people? Why are they here? Like, but I started a newsletter, so I had to kind of cover it and take pictures. So I did that, and I did not interact with anyone and just left. I did not know what was happening at the time.
Aww.
Later on, my department chair actually said, what do you want to do when you graduate? And I was like, I want to be a producer. I want to produce. I like that. And I was like, maybe film production or TV production. She was like, okay, I think you're going to be my candidate. I'm like, for what? What are we talking?
Oh.
And that's how it all started. We started the journey. She explained to me the opportunity, and I was like, sure, why not? I've done everything else here.
So how long ago was that you decided to come? Like, what was the process leading up to actually coming here?
So that process started in March, and that process took like 2-3 months, like all the documents regarding applying like a new student at SEMO and taking the tests. They're like, are you sure you know English? Take this test. So that was really stressful in a way. So it took like 2-3 months to get like those documents in order. And then throughout the summer, just packing and saying goodbye to friends and stuff like that.
So kind of going off of that, what was it like to just pack your bags, leave your friends, your family, and move to a completely new place?
It was scary. It was definitely scary because I think one of my biggest worries was like, I have no friends there. I don't know anyone there. But it was also exciting in a way because I was like, no one knows me here. I can break out of my comfort zones and just try to be me in a more authentic way. And people just going to assume that's who I am. But I'm just embracing it more and being more secure of myself. Because back in Puerto Rico, I would not dare to be on camera. Like, I'm so shy. I'm so introverted. I do a lot of things all the time, but I'm always behind the scenes and hiding. And I always wanted to have a voice. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll find my voice there. And I kind of did.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's been really fun from the outside looking in, getting to see you grow. I remember going and speaking at the
Convocation. Oh my God.
And like that compared to where you are now is just, it's awesome. It's so fun for me to see as someone who I like would consider as my friend now.
Yeah.
Like I'm so proud of you, and
thank you.
Watching you grow has just been awesome.
I'm gonna
cry. But what would you say have you been pleasantly surprised as far as like the relationships you've built since you've been here? How has it been?
So I've been extremely surprised in the way that so back home I don't really have much friends. When we did the podcast that you were in, I told you like just having this close circle of people is enough sometimes. And back in Puerto Rico, I just have maybe 2-3 friends. I always have more friends that I can maybe talk to and hang out with and all that stuff. But people that are close to me is very, very small. So coming here and meeting people that want to know the real me, it was kind of shocking to me at first because I was like, really? Like, and friendship here has been so loving and understanding and not judging type of way. So I was like, wow, I've actually got more friends that actually want to be with who I really am, you know, like as a person and not judge my faith and all that stuff. Not that my friends back home do. Not saying that, guys, just in case. But I am saying sometimes when people grow up with you, they see how you were, and sometimes they see you the same with those eyes. Like you were broken and now you're just like, you're fakes, but I still see you with the broken eyes.
You still have that in your mind.
Exactly. So these new friends don't have that aspect, and they see me for me, and it's just been amazing having you as a friend, having all the friends we share. It's not like 20 people, it's just like 3, but they're very special. And I got to have international friends. Now I can say I have a friend in Taiwan and mean it, you know? Having a friend in Norway and mean it.
But that's so true, and I can say firsthand, like, you are so loved and genuinely loved, and I want you to remember that. As someone who jokes with you and banters with you, like, from the bottom of my heart, I do mean that.
Thank you.
And I can speak for myself. I can speak for a couple of the other girls, but, like, we would do anything for you. So
I'm gonna cry, guys. I need a moment.
But
thank you.
Can you talk a little bit about we've talked about your kind of past, your history, and kind of who you are on the surface. But who is Ari underneath everything else?
Ari is a goofball.
We know.
No, but I do love to laugh. So Ari is just a person who wants the best in others. And one of the things I always say, and mostly tell my mom this, is I want to be the change the world needs. And I obviously cannot change the world. That's impossible. But the world does not mean literally the world, but someone's world. So if I can make someone smile or feel at peace with something or just be there, I will. So part of who Ari is a goofball because she loves to laugh, but also a person who loves to just be there for the people she loves and be different in every way possible and always try to be genuine in the most honest ways. And if I've made mistakes, trying to own it, even if it's hard, even if I potentially lose that relationship or friendship or whatever, just be honest and own that mistake. So I just try to be that in a very odd way to explain it. But
no, that's perfect, and it's so accurate. I think like I have noticed it. Like I've like called and talked to my parents, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this new girl, like she's like so awesome, and she
You
sent
talk
me
to your parents about me?
yes, and I'm like, she sent me this like really sweet message before I took my LSAT, like things like that, and it's like,
oh, I remember that.
but it's like little things that you remember that like the average person might not. Like everybody needs a friend like that in their lives, and it like
I try to be that. I know it's some people maybe find it odd that I like remember those type of things, and I'm like, no, that small thing makes a lot of difference, and it has made a difference in my life. And it's just I wish someone would remember this or that, and I try to be that now. Like maybe it's weird, maybe it's weird in a way, or that not a lot of people do it, but I like doing it. It's the smallest things, but I like doing it for the friends.
More people should. 100%. So are there any things that you have kind of battled with or struggled with growing up?
A lot of things. So while I was growing up, my family lost everything. My dad got sick, and we lost cars, house, everything. And it was hard. I was still at school, and it was a very difficult time because my mom was a stay-at-home mom. So that was pretty hard. I lived a lot of things. Just, yes, I was homeschooled in a way until I was in 4th grade. And after that, I was in an umbrella school, which is just a school for homeschool students. And I would sometimes leave class at noon and then have to be maybe a little bit in the streets until it was like I could go back to my grandma's house and all that stuff. So that was pretty tough growing up. And I think the second hardest thing was when my dad left. I was 4 days before my graduation, actually. And it was really hard. I almost went into a very deep depression because of it. I think that was actually the hardest part, too, because it literally broke me in many pieces. My best friend was with me through that. Not physically, because it was kind of in the middle of a pandemic. But I had friends that afterwards kind of helped me put my pieces back together. And within that process, I drew a little crown that was broken in two. And as I was in that deep state of hurt and just feeling broken, I actually felt God talking to me, like, even though that crown is made of gold and it's broken, it still has value because it's still made of gold. And that was really like, wow.
Yeah,
afterwards,
that's beautiful.
Yeah. Afterwards, a couple months later, I was feeling a lot better, and I was just into, like, after my parents' divorce finalized, I was feeling kind of down, and one of my friends bought a little crown for my birthday, and they gave it to me, like, you're not broken anymore. This is you now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
how do you think you kind of got past that deep depression and that sadness that you were feeling?
I think it was mostly prayer for me and having people that understood what I was going through and not judge me, just like, I know where you are. But also people who are like, I know where you are, but you need to move past it. At some point, you need to shake some things off. And also for me, since I was battling and trying to understand what was anxiety and panic attacks, that kind of came back. I wrote a lot of things. I just started to write in a very, like it was a story. Mm-hmm. So I would create fear as a person and just write and just be like storytelling type thing. Mm-hmm. It was the only way I could like get what was in my mind out of my mind and just go through it. And after that, I would just pray, and my mom would pray for me and have people who just like, okay, you're good, you're safe, you can stop, and also you need to move forward. You need to get out of your mind, because sometimes I do need tough love.
No, but that's a tough pill to swallow, and I think the fact that you found yourself the way that you went about kind of healing, what made you feel better was doing something kind of in this realm of mass media is probably a pretty good indicator that it's a good spot for you. That like kind of subconsciously that's what you do. But no, that's one thing that I feel like a lot of people didn't know about you.
Yeah, I've never talked about it.
So thank you for sharing. I know that's not easy. Do you have any advice for anybody going through a similar situation?
I feel it's different for everyone, but something I might give an advice in is talk to someone. Because even though you want to, sometimes we hear like you have to be tough and you have to overcome things. I heard that a lot. You have to be tough. And sometimes I am how I am because I've heard that so much, and I try to do everything myself and be tough and just go about it by myself because I need to be that. But you really don't. You really don't need to go through things by yourself. You really don't need to do everything yourself. There's people around you who are more than willing to help you and genuinely love you and help you through whatever you're going through. And there are people who are trying to hurt you. I'm not saying there aren't, but if you have people and you know you have people that are willing to just hear you out, talk to them, because it will help you a lot more if you do.
No, I completely agree. I agree with that. You seem to be in a good place right now, from the outside looking in, obviously, but it seems like you have grown a lot over the past couple of years. And the Ari that I know today, like, I wouldn't have known I wouldn't have guessed any of that about you. So you are very strong.
Thanks.
What are your goals and aspirations moving forward as you get closer to graduation?
Well, I hope to hopefully continue a podcast or something because I really enjoy doing that. I found a voice in it. So let's hope I can continue doing that at some point. But more in the more traditional aspect, I would love to produce. I don't know if like I'll have an opportunity to produce news. That would be fun, but stressful, but fun. But produce a movie. I like storytelling in a very film aspect, and if I get the chance to do that at some point, I would love to. So I'm open to just keep learning and experiencing new job opportunities and stuff, but there's a good chance I'll probably stay in the newsroom for a bit. So that's maybe what the future holds. Let's see.
Yes. Well, Ari, I have absolutely no doubt that you will be great no matter what you end up doing. And I feel very blessed to have gotten the chance to know you.
I feel blessed too. Thank you, Maddox.
So, guys, you have gotten to know the best host in the world on a deeper level. And I am so glad I got to be the one to do it.
Yay. It had to be you. It couldn't be anyone else, really.
But no, thank you for sharing all that. I know how hard it can be sometimes, but like you said, it's good to talk about it.
It's good to talk about it. That should be the name of this episode. It's
Therapy.
good to talk about it. Therapy. Oh, God. That was fun. Right. That was interesting.
All right. Well, see you guys.
See you in the next one. Maybe. Who knows? If you joined us today, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs some little inspiration. We'll be back next week for another incredible story. Until then, keep listening, keep learning, keep embracing the stories that are all around us. Thanks for tuning in to My Story Podcast.